Welcome to the House Edge Sports Network, the pulse of youth sports.
What's up, everybody? Tyler McLaren here from the HESN podcast, episode 14. Thank you, everybody, for joining us. Well, that's a wrap. Another football season is over, and just as fast as it, like the warm weather has come, the new season is over. It's always a shock when the season ends on a Cup Championship Sunday. 4 football games that we all enjoy to watch and film and be part of. And we want to say thank you to the Cumberland Panthers for putting on a great show and running a great canteen, putting on a great championship weekend. The fantastic new field at Millennium with the brand new turf in the stadium. It was really a great day. Best weather I can remember ever for an NCAFA championship weekend. And the season is over. It's always, again, it's shocking when the season ends, but that's what happens with football. It comes and it goes. I know the parents that have been doing it since the start of OVFL till now. We still have All-Star and the Combine coming up this Friday, but overall, the season is over, and now it's the time to take a little bit of time to let the bodies heal, let the mind relax, and for a lot of these kids, get focused to get trained up, ready for next season in the OVFL and NCAFA. And that's sort of the fantastic part about football. You do get a little bit of a break. I know a lot of kids that play hockey or basketball, they sort of play year-round. And always the thing that I love most about football was the opportunity that you played football when it was football season, and you played some other sports when football season wasn't on. And I know talking to a lot of parents, that's one thing they do really like about NCAFA and the experience that we put on for them in the great league here in the city of Ottawa. Now, before we get into those championship games, which happened on Sunday, got to take care of a little bit of business. As always, we are glad to be working with Elite Performance Academy. Donnie and Pat doing fantastic things, as we always talk about. This is the time to really connect with House Edge Sports Network and with Elite Performance Academy to let you guys know that their training for the off season is going to be starting very shortly. And usually before December hits, these guys are going to be getting ready to get into the gym and get focused on getting your bodies right for the next season. And again, if you take football seriously, you take any sport seriously for that matter, this is the group of people that you want to be working with. These are ex-professional players who understand how to train the body, understand how to train the mind, and we've been working with them for over a year now. And again, we're so impressed with what they're able to do with these athletes. So eliteperformanceacademy.ca, you can check them out there. You can also check them out through the links on all the HESN videos that we pump out every day. If you have any questions, as always, you can obviously contact them directly through their social media and their email, but you can also contact them through Jesse or I on our social media and our email addresses, and we'll be more than happy to connect you guys with them. And again, Elite Performance Academy doing a fantastic job. Glad to be working with HESN there. The championship games are always something that stick out in my mind. You know, I've played at the championship game at every level, Tyke, Mosquito, Pee Wee, Bantam, and Midget. I have 3 8 Cups. I lost a Pee Wee, and I lost a Midget, but I was blessed to be part of a championship at all levels, and I understand the thrill of victory and the agony of defeat. And I know that it sucks to lose, and I know it feels great to win. And I feel that the opportunity that I had as an NCAFA player to go through all that allows me to sort of have a better understanding of what all these kids and coaches are going through. Primarily the players, because I haven't coached the sport of football. But I think that if everyone understood how much work goes into a season, even for a 9 and 10-year-old, all the way up to a midget player, how much work goes in, how much time, mental preparation, physical exhaustion, dealing with school, dealing with parents and girls, and all the things that you can be doing as a young man that can distract you from the things that you should be doing. We really should be we really should be proud, and we really should hold these kids. And win or lose, to make it to an A-Cup championship is an incredible achievement. Most of these teams either have had undefeated records, 1 loss, maybe 2 losses, big wins in the playoffs, dealt through some terrible weather games, injuries, and to be able to make it to an A-Cup is an incredible achievement. I know a lot of these the teams that lost, especially at the younger age divisions, you sort of don't see the big picture, but I can tell you that win or lose, you will always remember these days. I still remember the ones I lost and the ones I win, and I'm 33 now, and I still remember that time I won 23 years ago, last weekend, when I won my first A-Cup. So these are memories that will stick with you for your whole life. And again, I don't think these kids will understand how much these times really will mean to them. But trust me, when they're my age and they look back at it, they're going to be happy, and they're going to really look back at this and think it was an incredible experience. We'll get right into it. Start talking about the games, and we're going to start with the tight game. And you could argue that this was probably the game of the day. These are two hugely talented teams playing at the tight division. The Orleans Bengals versus the Cornwall Wildcats. The game came right down to the end. It was a back and forth game. The Orleans Bengals took an early lead. Cornwall tied it up. Bengals took the lead again. Cornwall tied it up relatively late. And great coaching by the Cornwall Wildcats to put a rouge through the back of the end zone with about a minute left to go to give them a 15-14 lead, and had them pinned back. Obviously, in tight division, there's no kickoff, so when a point is scored, you get the ball at the 20-yard line or whatever it is. And the Orleans Bengals worked their magic, and they were able to score on the second to last play of the game to take the win. It was a 21-15 victory for the Orleans Bengals. And it was an incredible football game. Now, of course, all these games will be going up onto the HESN YouTube channel either later today or tomorrow. So you guys can check it out, see all the highlights. Incredible athleticism, incredible coaching, incredible emotion for both teams. It was definitely one of those games that was an NCAFA Classic. This is one that will go down in the books as one of those great championship games that we've seen since NCAFA and HESN have been working together. But, like I was mentioning before, whenever there's a winner, there's a loser in a championship game. There's no ties. The season ends, and only one team can end their season with a victory. And that was the Orleans Bengals. So I want to say congratulations to the Orleans Bengals tight team. Great job they did there. And it was a really, really dramatic game. It was about a 40-yard run, if I'm not mistaken, on the second last play, leaving 1 second left on the clock. Cornwall got the ball, wasn't able to do anything with it, but an incredible game, incredible run by number 7 to take the lead and secure a victory for the Orleans Bengals. The emotion was fantastic. And you just love seeing it. And at the trophy ceremony, when you see the Cornwall kids in tears and the smiles on the Orleans Bengals sidelines, you feel bad. You feel bad for the Cornwall kids, but again, that they had a great season. They played their butts off, and nobody gave up. And it was a great football game. They should hold their heads high. And I want to say congratulations to both those tight teams, and put on a great show in the beautiful sunshine at Millennium Field on Sunday in the A-Cup at the tight division. At the Mosquito division, we had an Orleans Bengals as well, and also versus Myers Riders. This is one of the traditional classic NCAFA rivalries, the beasts of the East and the beasts of the West, so to speak. Traditionally, at least, Myers Riders has traditionally been an extremely strong team at NCAFA. Less as of recently with the territories that the teams have now, and a little more emphasis for OVFL the Myers Riders have. But again, this was a very close game. The final score was 18-6 for the Orleans Bengals, and it's one of those games that I will be perfectly honest to you. I think the Orleans Bengals weren't able to capitalize on their opportunities. I didn't feel that the Myers team was able to sustain any pressure offensively. It looked like they were, I don't want to say outmatched because they're in the A-Cup, but I don't think they were able to sort of rise up to the level that the Orleans Bengals were playing at. I will say that there was tons of turnovers on both sides of the football. I think Orleans fumbled the ball at least 5 times. I know Myers fumbled around 3 times. Tons of turnovers in this game, and that is what allowed this game to stay close. Final score is 18-6, like I said. So congratulations to the Orleans Bengals at the Mosquito Division for winning a championship. I'm pretty sure a lot of these kids on this Orleans Bengals Mosquito team were part of the Mosquito team a couple years ago for the Bengals that won the A Cup at Tyke, which usually tends to happen. So you can tell that I think the quarterback was number 5, and he had some extremely impressive runs. And you can always tell the kids that have successful championships at their last year Tyke. Usually 2 years later, you'll see them have success at the Mosquito Division. And that was the case here. So congratulations to the Orleans Bengals at the Mosquito Division for putting on another great game. Great victory for them. And that's the first 2 games were won by the Orleans Bengals. At the Pee Wee Division, we had, unfortunately, not unfortunately, it was a great, fantastic football game. Let me just quickly check here. I think the score in that game was 14-6. I have it loaded up right here, so let me just double check here. But again, we had Coach Jeff Karate and his fantastic group of kids that he's had for 5 or 6 years in OVFL and NCAFA, playing against the Giants from North Gloucester, and the Giants from North Gloucester won that game 14-6. 2 punt return touchdowns by number 22, who definitely was the MVP of the game. Extremely impressive athlete. I'd love to see him continue with football and see what he can achieve, because the way that he moves, he looks like a great talent. Hopefully he can keep it on the rails, keep his head on earth, not get too cocky about himself. Not that he is, but just sometimes when you have success at a young age, some of these kids can sort of think of themselves maybe a little better than they are. But he had a fantastic game. And I know something about this game. I know, unfortunately for the Cumberland Panthers, the last time that they played the North Gloucester Giants, their starting quarterback, Christian, went down with a broken collarbone, separated shoulders, something of that nature, unable to play in this championship game. I think that really obviously put the advantage in North Gloucester Giants' favor. Christian is one of the most talented quarterbacks we've seen in the city the last 5 years or so, and for him not to be playing in that game really put the Cumberland Panthers at a disadvantage at the quarterback position, which is at Pee Wee probably the most important position, or any league for that matter. But I will say that Coach Karate and his staff and Josh Ruby, who ended up playing quarterback for them, gave an unbelievable amount of effort and really put forth tremendous, I don't want to use the word effort. I can't find a different word right now, but it was just it was a gutsy performance. I know that the positivity that I saw from Coach Karate on the sidelines all game was astonishing. Not that he isn't usually, but he understood what his team was facing when he was playing such a great team in the North Gloucester Giants, and what he was facing without his best quarterback in there. They devised a fantastic game plan. They ran the ball with Fabrice. They tried to use a couple not trick plays, but gadget plays to maybe catch the North Gloucester Giants off guard. But the North Gloucester Giants defense was very good. There was the one play you'll see on the highlight. Josh Ruby did a little Doug Flutie in the pocket, got away from it, was able to get the ball to Fabrice, who made a couple of moves, an incredible stutter step, got it down the sidelines, wasn't able to score on the play, was able to score on the next play to tie it up 6-6. And late in the game, pinned in their own end, the Cumberland Panthers were forced to punt, and they were using a short snap, man on side formation. They did recover one of the punts, which was it didn't end up being a turning point in the game, but they had an opportunity early on to score a touchdown. But I do feel that, I know Coach Karate isn't a guy that overall likes to punt. He would rather take the ball, run an offensive play, and keep getting first downs to keep his defense off the field and keep his offense on the field. But when you don't have a quarterback and you're facing 3rd and 4, 3rd and 5, when you don't have your starting quarterback in there, or somebody who's confident in throwing passes that are short. It's really tough to have the confidence as a coach to go for it on third down. So Coach Karate was forced to punt a lot more than I know traditionally he likes to, and they did their best to keep the ball away from number 22. But with that short formation, with the punter really close to the center and a few men on side, they didn't contain on those 2 touchdowns. They were the same plays. Number 22 broke it around the end, and once he gets free, there's no way you're going to catch that guy because he's an unbelievable athlete. And this was another great football game. It wasn't a sexy game by any stretch of the imagination. It was a hard-nosed Pee Wee football game. These guys, like Jesse and I always say, when you start playing in the Pee Wee division, this is when football really becomes football. Hormones start kicking in. These kids are now 13, 14 years old. They understand what it takes to be a football player, and they do take football quite seriously. These are kids that probably want to continue to play a few more years after this. So it was a hard-hitting, well-played game. Not a lot of cheap shot penalties. Not a lot of turnovers in my mind. Maybe a couple here and there. Near the end of the game, Cumberland actually ended up turning the ball over a couple times, but it was a great football game, and like I said, without their quarterback in there, I think that they put in a valiant effort and a great game plan devised by Coach Karate and his staff. But at the end of the day, I do think the better team on this day ended up winning. I think if Christian was there, it would have been a different story. No excuses. No excuses. I know Coach Karate won't make them. I know the kids on that team won't make them. And I know that the Giants don't want to hear them. And the Giants deserved every yard they got, they deserved and they earned, and they deserve this victory. And I want to say congratulations to the Giants. Huge victory for those guys. They really looked like they were happy. They had an unbelievable group of fans at the stadium cheering them on, and it was really great to see because that's a franchise that has been a little bit snake-bitten in the last few years at the Pee Wee and Bantam division. But overall, looks like they got a good group of guys coming up to Bantam next year, and great job by their organization to keep it on the rails and get an A cup at Pee Wee. And so congratulations to them, and I'm looking forward to watching Coach Karate and his staff in the OVFL, and a lot of the players from the Giants you'll probably see playing with Coach Karate at the OVFL this summer with the Cumberland Panthers. Now the last game of the day was the Bell Warriors versus the South Gloucester Raiders at the Bantam division. Obviously, for those that don't know, Jesse Card, who hasn't been on the podcast the last few weeks because we wanted to keep him off of it during this playoff run. He's the one of the defensive coaches for that team, and this was a great season for the Bell Warriors, an even better season for the South Gloucester Raiders. They got an excellent coaching staff there at the Raiders. Obviously, Tristano, one of my old coaches, coaching there, and a couple of great guys, Darren Joseph and some others there that really make that team, really took that team to the next level. I think their coaching staff was really great. Obviously, they had some extremely talented players. Number 23, Rohan, in the backfield. Obviously, Noah Gauthier, what up, bro? Saying what's up. Noah Gauthier after the game was doing his darn thing, yelling at us, saying that we picked them, bulletin board material. I know all the coaches were talking about. Actually, I did want to talk about that a little bit. I know that last year when I picked that the Eagles would beat the Bel Air Norsemen at the midget division, that the Bel Air guys used my pick as bulletin board material to motivate their guys to prove people wrong. And from what it looked like this year, it looked like the Raiders used my pick and used it as fuel. And I love it. There's nothing I like more than hearing that a group of coaches or a group of players listened to the podcast, heard my predictions, and thought to themselves, I'm going to prove this guy wrong. I love it. I have no dog in this fight. Yes, Jesse Carr is my best friend and my business partner, and obviously I know a lot of the kids on the Bell Warriors, but I know just as many kids on the South Gloucester Raiders, and I know the South Gloucester Raiders had a few Mustangs on there this year. So I had alliances on both sides, and all I ever want to see is a great football game. And I loved hearing the coaches come up to me, and I loved hearing Noah Gauthier talking and saying that, you know what, it really motivated us that you picked the Bell Warriors to win the championship. So I want to say thank you for you guys for listening to the podcast, and I want to say thank you for playing such a great football game. And let's talk about this game a little bit. I think it was a great football game. It wasn't. It was 24-0 was the final score for the Raiders. They shut them out again. That's 2 games they played this year. That's 24 and 25-0 respectively. No one can argue that the Raiders are not the best team in Bantam NCAFA this year. And I'd put this team up against any team in the last 5 years that I've seen win a NCAFA A-Cup championship. The only other team that I would say was definitely better than this team would be the Myers team with Dimitri at quarterback 4 or 5 years ago. But, if you ask me, this might be one of the deepest, most physical, most well-coached teams that I've seen at Bantam over the last 5 years. They have a great young quarterback who's able to come back and play Bantam next year, from my understanding. They had 2 great running backs. They had Matthew at wide receiver. They had tons of great players on defense. They just were a deep, complete team. And it didn't matter. The Bell Warriors moved the football on them. It was only 7-0 at the half for the Raiders. The Bell Warriors were moving the ball, but at the end of the day, with 3-down football, you need to sustain a drive, and you need to make sure that you convert first downs. You only get 2 opportunities before you decide to punt, and if you want to go for it, it's only 3 chances. So they weren't able to sustain drives, and in the second half, the defense of the Bell Warriors just could not continue to hold back these Raiders. And it was an unbelievable effort by the Bell Warriors defense. They made an interception. They stopped them on 3rd down. They played physical. They did lots of good things. But at the end of the day, the defense could only hold off for so long. The Bell Warriors offense was unable to, again, get a passing attack going, a consistent passing attack. I do believe from my spot up on the top of the booth, I was able to see that. It's easy for me to see it, but I do think the underneath throws were open. I think that the opportunity for James Keenan and the coaching staff to throw under and try to keep it consistent was there. But unfortunately, I don't think that the settings in the game really allowed them to take advantage of that. But based on the defense, based on the fact that the cornerbacks for the Raiders were such great athletes. We have Kevin Victome, who's one of the best running backs and receivers that I saw at OVFL the last couple of years playing corner. The Warriors did not have a wide receiver that can out-athlete that guy. And if they ever try to go deep, there wasn't an opportunity for them to get that. You saw later in the game Kevin Victome with a clinching interception that really put a stamp on the victory. And great special teams plays. Again, with the Bell Warriors, a couple key penalties early on in the game that really took away momentum and gave the Raiders a couple opportunities. I know early in the game there was a roughing the kicker penalty on a punt. It was 3rd and 4 for the Raiders. They decided to punt, and Malik took a penalty. It wasn't a terrible penalty. He went for the ball. He was unable to get it. I thought it should have been a running into the kicker, which still would have given them a first down. There's another 15-yard penalty. The play after that, on that play, that gave them a 30-yard penalty. And that really, really changed the tide of the game. The Bell Warriors could have had an opportunity to get the ball around midfield, maybe even better with a good punt return. But the Raiders kept the ball, drove it down, and scored that first touchdown, which was the only touchdown in the first half. And it was because of penalties that drive continued on. A few more penalties later in the game for the Bell Warriors defense. And at the end of the day, the Raiders were the best team. They deserve to win. And I want to say congratulations to that Bantam team. And like I said, I think it's one of the best Bantam teams I've seen in the last 5 years in NCAFA. And that's really a credit to the great coaches and the great players, all the hard work they put in. And they deserved it. And it was fantastic to win. Obviously, Bell Warriors were not happy about the loss. But a great season nonetheless for them. And I know a lot of those players will be able to keep their head held high and get back at it this year at the OVFL. A lot of these guys I know are going to be training in the offseason. And that was 20-0 victory for the Raiders, and congratulations to them. And that's 3 separate franchises winning 8 Cups today. We had the Bengals win 2 at Tyke and Mosquito. We had the North Gloucester Giants win at Pee Wee. And we had the Raiders win at Bantam. Now, the West was shut out this year. A little bit of East and South action, so that's always nice to see. being a South End guy myself, and it was a great, fantastic day at not the Sportsplex. I want to say the Sportsplex. It was actually at Millennium Field out in Orleans. It was a great, fantastic day. The weather was incredible. The only thing I wanted to mention, actually, now that we're talking about how great that day was the decision by the city to limit the speakers. We're based on, I guess there was some complaints from the residents of Orleans that the noise was a little loud with the speakers, just calling first down and all that type of stuff and touchdown. So the city actually came in and limited the speakers, but they were limited so much that you couldn't actually hear the people talking on the microphone, which was, it didn't ruin the day by any stretch of the imagination, but we were really excited to bring in some professional voice talent who was unable to put his skills to work, and it was just disappointing. Another decision by the city that baffled us, as always. Doesn't surprise me, but nonetheless, we called the necessary people. We got someone to come in, so shout out to that nice gentleman, I forget his name, came in and fixed it, and we were able to get the speaker working for the last game, which really added a little bit of flavor, I think, for the last game, and really happy that he came and fixed that problem for us. But at the end of the day, these are the types of things that we're fighting against, right? We're fighting against people complaining about kids having a great time one day a year and one weekend a year, and still people complaining not letting kids play. A lot of parents were very disappointed with the decision, and I know that there will be a few letters being written or emails being sent to their constituents and talking about how let's help start promoting sport instead of trying to stifle it. But again, discussion for another day. If you guys have any questions about that, as always, feel free to contact Jesse or I, and we can put you in contact with the people from NCAFA, who will then forward it to the people in the city, so we can make sure that this type of stuff doesn't happen as much as it does. And the last thing I want to say before we wrap up this podcast is just reminding everybody that this Friday, November 11th, Remembrance Day, 8 p.m., Bell Sensplex, we have the Combine. The EFC 3 is happening. It's going to be fantastic. If you haven't registered, go register now. This is going to be a fantastic event. If you're serious about playing football, you want to put your skills up against the other guys, meet some coaches, get some footage of you, test yourself. Make sure you guys go there. You can go to hesn.co, become a member, and register for this Combine. It's going to be fantastic. I encourage anybody who really wants to play football at the next level to come to this Combine. And by next level, I mean if you're Pee Wee and want to go to Bantam, if you're Bantam and want to do OVFL, if you're OVFL and want to do Junior, or if you want to go CIS, NCAA, whatever you want to do, whatever it is that you want to do, come out to the Combine. It's going to be fantastic. That's November 11th, 8 p.m. this Friday at Bell Sensplex in Canada. It's going to be incredible. Again, if you have any questions, contact Jesse or I through social media. And that's really about it, guys. I want to say thank you to everybody who tuned in to this podcast. Make sure when you guys listen to this podcast, you share it with all your friends. You tell them that I played in that game. That was me. We're going to be back next week talking about the Combine, some of the best numbers, some of the best times that we see. We're going to be broadcasting that Combine live on YouTube Friday night, so make sure you guys tune into that. And if anybody has any feedback, comments, concerns, quarrels, quagmires, make sure that you guys reach out to us through social media, comment section on YouTube. You can email us directly. Whatever it is you guys have to say, we want to hear it. If you haven't registered for the Combine, do so. Thank you once again. I'm Tyler McLaren. Peace.
Welcome to the House Edge Sports Network, the pulse of youth sports.